In this tutorial, you'll be making a cute little burger recipe poster or infographic. So what I'll do, I'll just move that off the canvas. Now, I have created a new document here. Your recipe posters are going to be A3 portrait size, so you could make this tutorial on that size. I've just used a 210mm by 210mm canvas. So first of all, we're going to make the bun. To do this, I'm going to grab my ellipse tool and we'll give it more of a bun colour. Now, with my direct selection tool, you can hit A on your keyboard to bring that up quickly. I'm just going to drag a marquee around those two side anchor points and then drag them down, and then click on the top anchor point to activate it and drag that one down too. Oops. Now, I've added a little bit of depth here with the gradient mesh tool, just to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. So you can get your mesh tool here and just click in the center of your burger bun. Now with your direct selection tool, then you can click on the anchor points and color them individually. So I'm going to click on that anchor point to activate it and give it a lighter color. And click on that top anchor point and give it a lighter color again. And I might click on that bottom anchor point and make it slightly darker, give it a bit of depth. At this point, I've realised that this burger is anatomically incorrect because you don't have a sesame bun on the bottom. So we're going to go Object, Transform, Reflect, Horizontal and Copy. I'm going to hold down Shift and drag it down to keep it straight and in line with the other one. And then I'm just going to make this one a little bit flatter. And I might even grab my direct selection tool and select these two anchor points and drag them up a little bit. Drag this one. Oh. Okay, that'll do. Okay, now to create the sesame seeds. So I'm going to drag out a small ellipse shape and give it a light colour. And with my direct selection tool again, I'm going to click on the top anchor point and convert it so it's pointy and do the same thing to the bottom anchor point. Now I could hold down Alt and painstakingly drag out copies, but in this case, because there's a lot of sesame seeds going onto the bun, I'm going to get my brushes panel up. If you don't have your brushes panel, you can go Window and Brushes to bring it up. Then I'm going to click and drag that shape into the brushes panel and select Art Brush. Click OK. I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool now and make sure I just have a stroke outline and no fill. So you might need to swap those around. And now, oops, I can paint on my sesame seeds. If you wanted some smaller sesame seeds, you could decrease the stroke size. Probably not enough. So these are slightly thinner. I'm happy with that. Now, these are all brush strokes, so I need to expand them and make them into an object, just so that, delete him, if I resize my burger bun, those strokes aren't going to distort. So I'll just select the whole of the burger bun and go Object and Expand Appearance. Now you can see those little brush strokes have become shapes. Okay, that's it. I'm going to group that together by going Command G, and I'll make sure these two buns are lined up evenly. So in my Align panel, I'm going to go to Align to Selection, and then click on Horizontal Align Center. Pretty even anyway. Okay, now for the patty. So I'll drag you down a bit further. Now for the patty, I'm just going to hold down Alt and Shift and drag out a perfect circle. I'm going to give that one a dark brown colour. And then again, I'm going to apply the gradient mesh tool just to add a bit of depth. So I'm just going to click once in the middle and then use my direct selection tool, hit A on your keyboard to bring it up quickly. I'm going to click on that anchor point in the middle. Actually, I'm not going to do that. First, I'm going to roughen the edges. So I'm going to go Distort and Transform, Roughen. And I'm going to make the size 1%, and check preview so I can see what I'm doing. Check smooth corner, and the detail I'll make 28 inches. So just so it's a little bit rougher around the edges, more of an organic shape. I'm going to click OK and then go Object and Expand Appearance. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that yet. Now I'm going to grab my mesh tool and click in the middle. And click on that middle anchor point, make it slightly lighter, maybe a bit too light. And maybe make these ones a little bit darker around the edges. Okay, so there's my patty. Now I'm going to grab my rounded rectangle tool, click and drag out a rounded rectangle about that size here. Make those a little bit lighter. I think normally they'd be a bit darker, but anyway. Now I'm going to hold down my Alt key and drag out a copy. And go Command D to repeat that action. And now I've got my 3 grill marks that are the same distance apart. I'm going to group all of that together then. And now we'll move on to the tomato. So for our tomato, again, grab my ellipse tool and hold down Alt and Shift, drag out a perfect circle, roughly the same size as your patty. And what I've done here then is I've gone Command C to copy and then Command F to paste that in front. I'm going to reduce the size of that slightly, holding down Shift to make sure it stays the same size. I'm going to select both of those now and just make sure in my Align panel that they're in the middle, that they're in the center of each other by clicking Horizontal Align Center and Vertical Align Center. Then I'll make that one a little bit of the one in the middle a little bit darker. Okay, now what I've done So I'm going to make 3 shapes with the Curvature tool. So make sure you start your shapes on the outside or on the very inside so the anchor points don't get mixed up with your circles. And then what I will do is I will select those 3 shapes and the inside circle shape by holding down Shift to select multiple objects at once. Then I'm going to get the Shape Builder tool and click in these parts here. Any part that's overhanging, and that will turn them into a separate shape. I'm going back to my selection tool and I'm just going to deselect everything. Now this shape here, I'll eyedropper the outside colour of the tomato, and these shapes that are overhanging, I'm going to hold down Shift and select all of those and just delete them off. So now I've got a little tomato shape. I'm going to drag out an ellipse shape now for the centre here. And now I'm going to go to Effect, Warp and Shell Upper. Now depending on the size of your ellipse, you can, play around with these levels and make it whatever shape you want. I'm going to keep it like this and go OK, and then Object and Expand Appearance to turn that into a shape. Now I'll just reduce the size of it down a bit. Now I'm going to go Object, Transform, Reflect, Vertical and Copy. Hold down Shift and drag that out. I'm just holding down Shift to make sure that stays in line with that one there. And then now I'm going to hold down Alt and drag out a copy of this one. With my direct selection tool now, I'm going to click on these anchor points and just fiddle around with the handles and everything, dragging some anchor points in, moving some handles in to give it a really warped and organic shape. Yours might look very, very different to mine. That's fine. And when you're happy with that, hold down Shift and select all of them, and then bring up your Pathfinder panel and click on Unite. So now that's one big shape. Now to make the seeds, I might even reduce the size of that a little bit. So for the seeds, I'm going to grab my ellipse tool . Get your direct selection tool, click on the bottom anchor point and convert it so it's pointy. I might even select those left and right anchor points and move them up a little bit. position that one on the outside. Now I'm going to select that and go to my rotate tool. Hover your rotate tool somewhere in the middle of the tomato. Hold down Alt on your keyboard and click. I'm going to rotate that 20 degrees and press copy, and then go Command D, Command D, Command D to repeat the action. Might even just move those up a little bit. And just shift them around. So I'm going to select all of those again. Oops. And go Object, Transform, Reflect, Vertical, and Copy. And drag those out onto the other side. And then I'll hold down Alt to drag out another copy of those seeds. Oops. Maybe just reduce the size. And position a few around the bottom of the tomato as well. Didn't need these ones after all. Okay, off you go. Alright, so that's a tomato. That looks sort of like a tomato. Make this one a bit darker. Okay, I'll select everything here then and group that together. What's next? Cheese. Okay, so I'll grab my rectangle tool, just click and drag out a rectangle shape, make it a cheese colour. I'm going to now grab my ellipse tool. I'll make these circles a little bit darker. I'm just going to randomly draw out a whole lot of circles, different shapes. And select everything and go to your shape builder tool and click in all these circles here and the overhanging parts. Go back to your selection tool and deselect everything, and then select those circles and the overhanging parts. And just hit delete on your keyboard and you've got a piece of Swiss cheese. Okay, lettuce. So for the lettuce, I'm going to drag out another circle. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to give this one a gradient fill. So you can go to Window and Gradient to bring up your gradient panel, and I've selected a radial gradient here. Oops. Now, when you double click on your gradient slider, you'll be able to change the colour around here. It will automatically come up in grayscale mode. So to change that, if you've just got black and white here, then select CMYK, and then you can change the colour of your gradient. When you're happy with the colour, it's probably a little bit fraction too light. Okay, now we're going to change the shape. So I'll go back to the direct selection tool, select both the left and right anchor point, click and drag those down, and then this one here, I've made that indent a little bit. So to do that, hold down Alt on your keyboard and now drag the handle down and hold down Alt again, select that handle and drag it down. So you just click once on the handle to activate it. And then if you want to make it a bit more of an organic shape, you can play around with some of these anchor points. I've made this a little bit wavy. So to do that, I use the pencil tool. Your pencil tool might be underneath your shaper tool, so just hold it down and select that there, double click on it, and make sure your stroke is dragged up to smooth. If you want it to be a little bit more accurate though, you can keep it where it is and see what effect you get with the pencil tool first. So you need to make sure that this object is selected. It might have been deselected when you were fiddling around with the pencil tool settings. So ensure it's selected and then go back to your pencil tool, draw along the path, and then finish drawing along the path to create little indents. And it has a little bit more of a realistic shape. So start by drawing along the path and then finish by drawing along the path. Okay, there's one lettuce. I'm going to get my curvature tool now and make a line down the centre. I'm going to swap my fill and my stroke because I just want a stroke outline, and then I'll make that a lighter green colour. In the stroke panel, so go to Window and Stroke to bring it up. Your stroke panel might look like this when you first bring it up. Oops. So just click on that right corner and go Show Options to bring up all your options. I'm going to make the cap round and increase the stroke weight. Oops. And then change the profile to this one here. Or you could change it to this one here and switch the direction. It's up to you. Play around with some of the profiles and see what effect you come up with. I'm going to grab my curvature tool again and make the little veins on the leaf an eyedropper, that same one there. Might decrease the stroke weight though and switch the direction. And I'm going to hold down Alt and drag out a copy. Just play around with the rotation and the size.
Attention, attention. Protective Fire Services is on site. We are testing the fire alarms. At this time you'll hear the alert and the evacuation tone. Please do not evacuate as we are just testing. Just to repeat, we're about to test the fire alarms on site. Please do not evacuate as we're just testing. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I've selected all three of those veins then. I've expanded the appearance to turn them into shape so they don't distort as well. And then I'm going to go Transform, Reflect, Vertical Copy, and just drag those onto the other side. Now I'll group those together. Hold down Alt on your keyboard and drag out a copy of that. Just rotate it slightly. I'm going to go Shift, Command and left square bracket to send that one to the back. Now I'm going to hit A on my keyboard and select the leaf and go to Gradient and just darken the colours because, oops. Just darken the colours of the one sitting behind it slightly to give it a bit of depth. Might brighten this one up too. Okay, so that's the lettuce. Group those together. Nearly there. We've got onions and pickles to go. So for the onion, move the bun down a bit. Give us some room for the onion. And drag out an ellipse tool. Now I'm going to go Command C and Command F to paste a copy of that in front and make it a slightly lighter colour. I'm going to select both of those now and go horizontal align centre and vertical align centre. Now I'll do the same thing, Command C and Command F to paste a copy of that in the front. Position that one in the centre. Select all of those and make sure they're just aligned. I'm going to select all of those now and go Command C, Command F. Oops, reduce the size of that again. Select this one, go Command C, Command F. Oh, now I'm going to go Shift Command and right square bracket to put that right in the front. Reduce the size of that one again. I might swap the stroke outline and the fill around with this one here. Might increase the size of that one and do the same here. Now again, I'll just select everything and make sure they're all in the centre of each other. Okay. Select those three there, go Command C, Command F. It's entirely up to you how you go about doing this as well, and what sort of pattern, what pattern you want them in. Just make them all line up again. Okay. And then I'm going to drag out an ellipse shape, eyedropper it like this. And now I'm just going to get my direct selection tool and play around with those anchor points to make it a bit more of an organic shape. Play around with the handles. So that's the center of the onion. And then I'll go Object, Transform, Reflect, and copy it. Place it here, and then again grab the direct selection tool and just play around. Oops, with the handles. I'm going to select some of these now and just reduce the opacity. So some of the darker ones, maybe some of the lighter ones as well. Reduce the opacity so it's not so intense on every single layer. Okay. Now I'm going to group all of those together and we've just got one more left. It's the pickle. Again, I'm going to drag out an ellipse shape with my shape tool. I'm going to give this one a stroke outline. Oops, maybe a bit too dark. And just increase the weight of the stroke outline. And go Effect, Distort and Transform. Oops. Actually, that's not what I did with that. Don't worry about that. Just get rid of the stroke outline. I'm going to go Effect, Distort and Transform, and Roughen. Check the preview box so you can see what you're doing and make sure it's smooth, and then you can just play around with the size of the distortion and the detail in the distortion. When you're happy with that, just click OK and then go Object Expand Appearance. I'm going to go Command C and Command B to paste a copy of that at the back, increase the size of it a little, and then I'll give that one the darker colour. Select both of your pickle shapes and make sure they're sitting flush in the middle. Okay. Now I'm just going to grab my pen tool and go click and click to make a line. Swap your stroke and your fill over, and I'll make that slightly lighter, that colour. Select that and go Object Expand, and now hold down Alt and click and drag out a copy, and then go Command D to repeat that action so they're all lined up evenly with each other. I'm going to reduce the opacity of these little lines here. And now select everything, zoom in a bit, grab your Shape Builder tool. I'm not going to select the outside shape actually, so just the inside shape and those lines. Grab your Shape Builder tool and then click in these little parts here that are overhanging. I'm going to select those overhanging parts now. They should be turned into shapes of their own. So we can delete them off. No? Oh yes, they are. We need to ungroup them first. So I'm going to go Object and Ungroup. When you expand them, it automatically groups everything together. Now you can just drag out copies, position some at the back, so you can go Object Arrange Centre Back or Shift Command left square bracket to sit it behind. That one at the back, I'm going to hit A on my keyboard to bring up my Direct Selection tool and click in the centre just to make it a little bit darker, add some depth. And there we go, we've got some pickles. I'm going to group those together now by going Command G and just reduce the size of them a little.
The college's fire alarm system has been activated. Please evacuate the building immediately and proceed to the assembly area in Memorial Park via your designated evacuation route.
Okay, so while the fire alarm's going on, now we're just going to put everything together. So I'm going to group these two here, group these two here, and group these two here. I'm going to make sure now that all these parts are lined up in the centre. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool and drag out a rectangle the size of the canvas. You can make it whatever colour you like. Oops. And go Shift Command left square bracket to send it to the back, or Object Arrange Centre Back. Now here I've used a font I've downloaded from Defont. I think, what's it called? Bearded Lady, I think it's called. Click and drag out my type tool and grab my Bearded Lady font and write burger. Now go back to my selection tool, hold down the Control key on your keyboard and click and go Create Outlines, so all of these are turned into a shape. And go Shift Command G to ungroup, or Object Ungroup. Just going to increase the size of these until they're the same size. Should have probably just increased the size of the font first, but you know, I'm doing things the hard way. Never mind. I've got my smart guides on to make this a little bit easier. You can turn them on by going View and Smart Guides and just making sure it's checked. Okay, let's pretend they're all the same size now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to position them on top of one another. Select all of them. Make sure they're aligned in the centre. Now I'm going to click this one here and give them equal spacing between each letter. And make them a lighter colour and group them together. And I'll just position them here. Now because you're making a recipe poster, it's basically an infographic that's showing you all the ingredients that are going into this recipe. So I'll add some little plus signs. So burger plus patty plus tomato equals burger. Okay, drag out my rectangle tool. Now go Object, Transform, Rotate. Rotate it 90 degrees and press Copy. I'll just select both of those and group them together. Now, I'm going to hold down Alt, drag out a copy, just holding down the Shift key as well to make sure they're straight. And then I might just select all of those and again make sure there's equal spacing between them. Okay, so there's our burger recipe poster. When you're finished, you can go File and Save As, and then just save it as your name and PDF and airdrop to me.